Our most popular topic among our small business audience is tariffs. And today we have news on that front. The Supreme Court has handed down its decision on tariffs. So maybe you can explain to us what the decision means and how that impacts small businesses.
Yeah, I don't want to bury the lead here, but this is really important news. What the Supreme Court has said is that the president does not have the legal authority to impose tariffs under IEEPA, what's known as the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. So that means that the president's ability to issue new tariffs under that statute, that goes away. He can't do that anymore. And it means that, while the process is a little unclear, but that people should be entitled to refunds for the IEEPA tariffs that they paid. Now, I want to be really clear about something. This doesn't mean that all tariffs are going away. The president has lots of different authorities in which he can impose tariffs. For example, we have tariffs on steel and aluminum and wood products. Those are done under something called Section 232. Those weren't touched. Those don't change. No one's entitled to a refund there. We have certain tariffs on products from China. Those are done under what's called Section 301. Those aren't touched. Those remain in place. No refunds there. But for these IEEPA tariffs, these are the tariffs 10 to 15%, in some instances higher, kind of globally on goods, 15% on things from Europe, 15% on things from Japan, for example. Those tariffs, those will go away, and importers should be entitled to refunds.
So, as of right now, is there a mechanism in place to apply for those refunds?
There's a normal kind of regulatory process, if you will, that importers normally use to go and get refunds. But understand that we're talking about a lot of importers and a lot of money here, north of 120, $130 billion that we believe people will be entitled to refunds on. So it's a little unclear, given that magnitude, exactly what the process would look like. And so this is something that we're talking to the administration about, engaging in on closely. We're advocating for this to be a really simplified process. We don't want to see, particularly small businesses, have to jump through a bunch of hoops to get this money back. But until we get a few more answers, we can't say with certainty exactly how the process is going to work. There are some things, though, that people could do to begin preparing now.
And what are they?
Well, I think the first thing I would try to do is understand if you paid IEEPA tariffs or if you were paying some other kind of tariffs, right? And so I mentioned that some China tariffs, some product tariffs aren't affected. It's really important to understand with your customs broker what tariffs you were paying, and understand that it's only the IEEPA tariffs where you could get a refund. Part of that means is going back and collecting all that paperwork from those customs duty notices and having that in place. And if it's not clear to you whether or not this was an IEEPA tariff or not, beginning to talk with your customs broker about how you might begin to figure that out. That'll give you a sense of kind of what your refund should be, and on what materials or what imports it ought to apply to. It's quite likely that there are going to be other paperwork requirements here. So a good first step, in addition to understanding if you paid IEEPA tariffs, is just getting all of that paperwork in order.
Now, one thing we saw after the pandemic with some of the rebates and refunds is that there were a lot of scams and a lot of misinformation that businesses fell victim to. So, is that something you want to address in this case? I feel like there's a potential for that here.
Yeah, it's a concern, right? And so I think we've already seen businesses coming along and suggesting that they will buy your right to a refund for a certain percent of the refund that you're due. In some instances, that can be legitimate, but in some instances, these companies might be only offering you kind of 30 cents on the dollar when you could get the whole dollar that you're due with just a little bit of paperwork and kind of work on your side. So I think those are things to be cautious about. I suspect we're going to see lots of people trying to sell services to expedite refunds. until we know the exact process that the federal government's going to use here, I would be really hesitant about signing up for any particular services that it may turn out that you don't even need at all in order to get a refund. So I think getting more information, staying attuned to these updates will help businesses really protect their rights and ensure that they get the money back that they're entitled to get back.
Great. And we here at the Chamber will continue to keep businesses updated as we have more information. So thank you.